Hello everyone and welcome to my new video. This is 18-wheeler American Pro Trucker on the Sega Dreamcast. This was converted from the arcade with the same name. I never played it in the arcade. The first time I actually played this, funnily enough, was on the PlayStation 2. When Sega discontinued the Dreamcast, they ported a lot of their games onto the other gen consoles, and this was one that appeared. I think it also came out on the GameCube. I don't know if it came out on the Xbox, I can't remember if it did, but it definitely came out on the PlayStation 2 because I owned it on that. I really enjoyed it. It's kind of a novel, different approach to your standard arcade fare, in that you're controlling a huge 18-wheeler articulated truck, racing one of them around the roads of America, which is, as I say, it's kind of a novel approach. Makes a difference from your normal high-tuned, high-performance racing car, certainly. And it's kind of funny knocking stuff out of the way, and you have a rival who's got the crazy name of Lizard Tail, and if you finish ahead of this guy, as you'll see later on in the video, you get a little mini game where you get to park the vehicle. Along the way you have these cars which you just saw me hit just before that have little time bonuses on them, and believe me, you will need to hit these cars, because as typical Sega fare is, this game is bloody tough, but enjoyable at the same time. It's very old school. You also need to keep an eye on the fact that you can't just keep knocking everything out of the way. You'll see in the top right corner where it says fuel tanker, there is a value, and the more you hit things, the more that value decreases. So it's kind of in your interest to make sure that you're not hitting anything you don't need to hit as such. Otherwise the value of the cargo that you're carrying on the back of your vehicle will diminish. And as you can see there, I beat Lizard Tail, and so now you get this little novel thing where you get to park the vehicle and its cargo. Now this switches to the outside view. You can switch to this view in the game, but just smacking a lamppost out of the way there, but for this you're locked in that view because you need to be able to line it up properly. Again, you've got the time limit as well, so obviously the faster you do it, the higher the bonus you get. Yeah, I enjoy it. I think it's a cracking game. I like the Trans-American style of it. I like the fact that you can select different cargoes, and each one sort of kind of defines the difficulty. And you can see here, like, yeah, just plough through a load of buildings, kill dozens of people just because you want to finish ahead of me. You go ahead and do that. It's pretty awesome. I like the fact that, you know, each area kind of has its own theme as well, depending on where you're travelling to. My only criticism will be that the actual stages themselves aren't especially long. I mean, this has got to be some kind of world record, travelling to Dallas, you know, within really like the space of less than a minute or a couple of minutes at the very most. Not really realistic. Well, then again, I mean, it's based on an arcade game, but it would have been nice had the levels been a little more drawn out. Again, I know it's based on an arcade game, and arcade games aren't about longevity, they're about taking money off you. But it really would have been nice with the home formats if there had been a little bit more longevity between the levels. But then again, I mean, that wasn't the purpose of it. Its purpose was to be a faithful arcade version. I love the fact that there's a tornado as you're travelling into Texas. I think that's awesome. it's just nice little touches like that that I really enjoy, and that I like about it. I mean, it is, as I say, it's a total arcade game. There's no realism in terms of the handling or the gameplay whatsoever. It's just designed to be fun. And that time I did make it, but I didn't beat my rival. So when that happens, unfortunately you don't get to play the mini game. You don't get to unlock any boosts or any extra features for your vehicle. When I did the last one, I got a horn upgrade, which I don't know what it does, but it just makes the horn sound deeper than standard. But aside from that, I honestly don't know what it does. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, there is good variety in the levels. There is a little bit of pop-up, which I have to say on the Dreamcast I was a little bit surprised by. The Saturn was notorious for having pop-up, but yeah, I was a little bit surprised by that on the Dreamcast. I can't recall whether it was on the PlayStation 2 or not. It probably was. But yeah, it was a bit of a surprise, and I don't know. I guess it's just because of the arcade heritage, perhaps. Just trying to do a straight conversion, it creates these problems. I don't know. No idea. But I was a little bit surprised to see it. Pop-up wasn't something I really associated with the sort of PlayStation 2, GameCube and Xbox. I don't recall too many games having a considerable amount of pop-up in them, but it's probably a bit of rose-tinted glasses. I'm sure if I went back and played these games, there's probably a fair number of them had some pop-up in there. I also like the fact that you've got stuff in the cabin of the truck which move around as well. You've got the thing on a chain there spinning, and you've got like a map or a book or whatever on the dashboard that slides around when you go around the corners and stuff. Yeah, it's just a really nice little touch. And yeah, there's not really a whole lot else to say about it. I mean, if you have a Dreamcast, it's well worth checking out, and there's more to the game as well than just the time mode. Like here, this is another feature, which is the score attack, and again, it's just a very simple premise. You just choose whichever stage you want to go on, and the idea is quite simple. You just race around within the time limit and score as many bonus points as you can by hitting these cars with bonus plastered along the top of them, and not hitting the cars which don't have bonus written on the top of them. Yeah, I mean, it's just, obviously it's something they did to try to add longevity to the game, because the arcade mode is very simple and straightforward. You have to put the difficulty up a little bit. If you put it on the easiest difficulty settings, you will complete the arcade mode relatively easily, and that's kind of the main bulk of the game. So I would recommend that you don't play it on the easiest difficulty settings, although it can get preposterously difficult on the more higher difficulty. Well, it actually gets downright impossible on the higher difficulty settings. Don't play it on the easiest, because you will do it pretty much in your first go. I know I did. I put this up on a slightly higher difficulty setting, and got far more challenge and enjoyment out of it. And that was the sort of drawback with the sort of Dreamcast generation, when they did straight arcade conversions. Arcade games don't really provide much in the way of a long-term challenge when you're not feeding money into it. I mean, what really stops you playing is running out of money. But when you can just hit continue, or you can just practice and play indefinitely, the challenge tends to disappear. But anyway, that's 18 Wheeler American Pro Trucker on the Sega Dreamcast. Thank you very much for watching this video. Stay tuned to my channel for more to come, and yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching.